this show, Epic Adventures, is just at another level. How was it to work on this and put it together for Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's pretty special because the things we were trying to film were really close to my heart. A lot of them I wanted to try and film even from a really young age. So to have such an incredible team, and we had the time to go to these places. You know, a lot of these adventures require a lot of time. So to have all of those things come together, and then actually for us to pull it off has been a pretty surreal experience. I mean, the Antarctica episode was definitely our most ambitious, and to spend a month on a 75-foot ice strengthened sailboat and sail to Antarctica and then look for the whales in some awful conditions. It just seemed to be always stormy there. For everything to then come good and see 300 whales all together in a big feeding party with Antarctic mountains behind, that was, yeah, pretty bonkers.
Awesome. And to be able to go down to Antarctica, let's take that one example. It's like to be able to see what's going on, especially with everything that's going on our Earth. What were you able to experience that, maybe, especially through the lens, and able to bring out that people are going to take from?
Yeah, well, I mean, the special thing about Antarctica is it's a great place to see whales. And what's special about the whale gathering that we filmed is it was the biggest gathering of fin whales ever recorded. And not only is that very beautiful, but that's also a massive beacon of hope, because fin whales were hunted almost to extinction in the Southern Ocean, so the ocean that surrounds Antarctica, during the commercial whaling era. And it was only when commercial whaling was banned in the 70s and 80s that really it gave whales a chance to make a comeback. And, you know, they're like humans. They live a long time. A fin whale can live 80 years, and they reproduce like humans very slowly. You know, they don't have loads of babies. And so a comeback takes a long time. So now to see as many whales as we did, you know, it's one of the few places on Earth where there is a wildlife event that is better now than it has been for 20, 30, 40 years. And I think that's really exciting, because most places I go, that's not the case. I mean, in the hammerhead, you know, the shark episode, you know, the hammerhead shark gatherings we saw were beautiful and amazing. You know, seeing 100 hammerheads all together is incredible. But if you went to that place 20 years ago, you'd have seen so many more sharks. You know, their populations are just doing this because of shark fishing. And so in the case of the whales, to see that good news, you know, it's an example of animals coming back. You know, if we give wildlife the chance, it'll make an amazing comeback.
And it's great to hear that we're seeing that. We're seeing that comeback, and everything's going great. One thing I do have to ask, this is beautifully shot. Completely blew my mind. What was the technical aspect of being able to get these shots? Because I could only imagine how difficult it must have been.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm very much a camera person first and a TV host second. And so, yeah, I wanted the wildlife footage on this. I mean, the whole team, we wanted to have it rival the best wildlife documentaries out there. And that comes from bringing lots of the latest technology camera toys and taking great people. And I was lucky enough to work with just an incredible camera team. And a big thing that we did on every episode was we took multiple wildlife camera people. And often when I'm shooting on other documentaries, you're just by yourself with a director. And so you know, you're filming something from one angle. What I wanted to do on this project was we have loads of cameras filming the same thing at once, and so you can cut between those angles like a live sports match would, right? So in the case of the lion episode, we were filming lions hunting buffalo, which is something that has been filmed many times before, but not with the technology we were going at it with. So I was flying a drone above the action to get that aerial perspective, and then my friend Sam, who's the other wildlife camera person, he was using the camera system that they used in the latest Top Gun movie to get stabilized shots between the fighter jets. It's called a shot over. We had the same camera system, but instead of being on a fighter jet, because that wouldn't be very useful for filming lions, we had it on the front of a 4x4, like off-road vehicle. And so he could be driving alongside the lions and the buffalo, and I was over the top. And so we could cut between the two angles to show the battle between these two incredible contenders, I guess. And what we found was because the cameras could keep up with the action, being on the move, it meant we could really see the interaction and show that these buffalo were really, really hard to try and eat.
And that's the one question I want to ask. Like, how are you able to do all this and not interfere with the natural habitat of what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, the golden rule of wildlife film is you do not interfere with the action, even if you want to, even if the cutest, loveliest little animal is in trouble. I should say that is the golden rule, unless humans have caused a problem, in which case we would intervene, or we'd get someone that knew how to intervene. Like I've been on an underwater shoot, and we've come across a turtle that was stuck in fishing net, and we'd get right in there and cut the net off and make sure it was all good.
Awesome. And the one thing I got working with National Geographic, like I've been a fan of National Geographic, and it was exposed to me from my mom and dad since I was a kid, and now for you to work on, to be producing something for National Geographic, how has it been working with them?
Yeah, I mean, it's a total out-of-body experience most of the time. I mean, if I could tell my 5 or 10-year-old self that, one day you'll be making a project for National Geographic, I wouldn't have believed myself. So very, very lucky. Amazing people, and they really care about the environmental message that goes with these amazing wildlife events, which is so important in this age, when the natural world faces its biggest challenges yet. And also just the ambition to just make sure that we're doing stuff at the very highest level, the best we can make it, because nature's beautiful and epic, and doing justice to that is a challenge, and so to have people pushing you to make that as great as possible is really cool.
And in this show, what was the one area and one location that you would say was probably the most challenging out of any?
The most challenging was certainly filming in Antarctica, just because you have to pack everything into a little sailboat. There was a bunch of us on that boat living on top of each other. It smelled nasty by the end. And the conditions we were working in, we were outside of the protection of any land, trying to find these whales in big waves, and we had drones in the air and gyro-stabilized cameras at water level, and then getting in the water as well. All of those moving parts to try and capture this wildlife event from all those angles was really, really challenging, and very proud that using this incredible team we managed to pull it off.
Was there ever a time where you were just like in your shot, in your moment, and even in the water in Antarctica just going, why didn't I get somebody else to do it instead of me being in the water shooting this?
Maybe when my fingers were really cold, because I've been in the water too long there. Because the water's -1 degree Celsius, so I think it's about 30 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty unpleasant. That gets really cold. But no, I wouldn't want to swap out. I've always got to be the one in the middle of it all.
Yeah, I only have a few questions left. The next question I really want to ask you is pretty much about our environment and what we're going through. I mean, you get a firsthand look at what many of us don't get to see. What are some of the changes, especially with the global warming incident, especially with the animals that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, everywhere you go, you can see evidence of the impact of humans. It's not good, but what makes me hopeful is on this project we got to meet loads of incredible scientists and conservationists doing things to solve that. And I think the important thing is a lot of these problems just seem so big, and I think it is important that we think globally, but we need to act locally. Like, everyone can do their bit. And also it's important to remember that looking after wildlife isn't just something we should do because it makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside. Like, we need the natural world to work for everything that we do. Fresh air, productive soils, clean water, like all this stuff that we just take for granted. We can all be doing our little bit, and collectively we'll be really strong. And wildlife will win, and we'll win.
Awesome. Bertie, thank you so much for stopping with us. Really appreciate it. And definitely, this is epic. This is the key word in this, in epic adventures, and you did an amazing job. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. Good to chat.
No problem.